Welcome to my Scrappin space. I'm Joni Martin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator located in Southwest Wisconsin. And I'm here to share with you a card made with a bundle from Stampin' Up. It's called Sunrise Sailing. So obviously a sailboat, but it has some great sentiments on it. I would have purchased this even if I just got the stamp set. Happy retirement, best wishes, congratulations. You deserve the best. I can think of a lot of people I should send that to. You're destined for great things. Isn't that a wonderful graduation sentiment? And ahoy. It comes with an embossing folder, which is the primary piece of the suite we're going to use, or bundle, excuse me, we're going to use today. But it also comes with this set of dies, and you'll see more cards from me using other pieces of this. But this is the card I'm going to show you how to make today. This card has a lot of impact and it's so easy to make. I initially made this card as a birthday card for a dear friend in Florida, and while we were staying with them, his birthday was that week and I gave him the card. He and his wife loved the card and oohed and ahed over it, and I thought, this took me no time at all to make. So let me show you how to make this easy peasy card that will be sure to impress. So we're going to actually start with a piece of paper from a 6x6 paper pack called Thoughtful Journey. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut this to size. And by to size, I mean the size I want this piece. Now I am using a mat of Misty Moonlight. And my mat is the common 4x5 1/4. And of course, all the directions supply lists are on my Scrappin with Joni blog. I want to see just a little bit of that Misty Moonlight, so I'm cutting it 1/8 inch smaller. If you don't like to cut in eighths, or you want to see more of the mat, cut it 1/4 inch smaller. So let's talk about cutting the paper. I'm going to begin by cutting the height I need, which will be 5 1/8. And as a quick reminder for my friends who want to cut in eighths but don't feel comfortable doing it, I start at 5 and then I go over on the Stampin' Up marker 2 lines. The first line is the 16th, the second one is an 1/8. There I'm already at 5 1/8. My paper is tight against the lip, and then I'm just going to cut. My blade is going the same way to the top. I'm pushing the paper to the top and I'm cutting to the top. Then this paper I am going to go 3 3/8, which is just 2 lines before the 4. And these scraps, I'll show you what I'm going to do with those in a second. Here's my paper. I'm going to attach it to the mat before I emboss. The embossing folder we're using, it's called one of our 3D ones. It's thicker. And so we're using plates 1 and 4. When it's a thicker one, a 3D, you're going to get a deeper impression, which sometimes is when you emboss with just paper alone, you might get a slight tear or a rip. But if I attach it to the cardstock first, it's just easier on the paper. So let's do that. I'm going to attach that. I'm grabbing just my tear and tape. You could use your multi-purpose glue, whatever works for you. There we go. And I'm just going to line that up like so. So I've centered it in there. And then in here, I'm going to line that up. And what I found was, look at the sailboat as your guide and kind of put the sailboat where you want it. For some reason, I kind of like the sailboat to the side. So we're going to do that. Just like this. Now I want to show you what I did wrong on the card I showed you before. I put it too low on the blue, and so it looks like my boat is underwater. Not a good look for sailors. So this time I have it a little higher, right above the blue of the water. And I can tell that by looking through my embossing folder. So just something, helping you avoid the mistake I made. Now we're going to grab our cut and emboss. And again, plates 1 and 4. Now your embossing plates don't come with these labels. I add them. I add the name of the embossing folder and the plates I want to use. So I want to use plates 1 and 4. With the cut and emboss system, you're always going to use plate 1. Then I'm going to put this in, and then plate 4 in this system is the gray one. Just like that. We're just going to move it through. And this isn't going very far because we're going to do one more thing with that embossing folder while we have everything out. Oh, that's such better placement for my boat. It's now on top of the water, not under the water. But you can kind of move it around wherever you want, but just I wanted to point that out. You probably don't want it down the deep blue like my other card was. Then, I always like to do something with the envelope flaps. Now, I could stamp a boat on the envelope. I could take a piece of that same blue paper and cover my envelope flap. But you know, there's something about embossing. I'm a big fan of embossing envelope flaps. It gives it a whole new look. When my friend was opening his birthday card in Florida, he showed his wife, "Ooh, look at the fancy envelope." Let me show you how easy fancy envelope is. We're going to use this part of the embossing folder, and we're going to add that texture. Now, you can do one envelope at a time, but you can do 2 envelopes at a time. And I plan to be sending more of these cards out. So I'm going to do 2. I'm just going to make sure that I've lined here, can you see here? I have the 2 envelope flaps together. And then here at the bottom, this is my fold line. That's what I'm aiming for at the very end of the embossing. And we're going to close it. So I have it straight in there, and I have no embossing below the fold. And just like before, now we're going to lay it a little different on plate number 1. Let me show you that. Before we kind of everything was contained to the plate, that's not going to work here because we want that envelope coming out. We don't want to wrap it underneath because then we get a mark. So part of the embossing folder is on your plate number 1, and the envelopes are. See how that's going to kind of stick out? We still want to line the plates up as evenly as we can get them, and then we're going to send them through. Just like that. Now, when it goes off the bottom of the plate, it's the embossing folder rather, it's onto the plate, it's going to make a sound. That's okay. There we go. Let's get these out of the way. I love the sides fold up on this because I have a crafty mess on my table and that takes up less room. There we go. Get this out of the way. And check that out. You can send an envelope that looks like this, or you can send an envelope that looks like this. I know which one I want to send. That one. Okay. Moving on. And really, this is a really easy card. Like I said, it looks like it took some work, but it didn't. So for the inside, I just wanted a happy birthday. Now, I could have done "You deserve the best" or "Best wishes," but I grabbed a stamp from the loveliest tree that says "Happy Birthday," and that's what I stamped it with. So again, this card has a lot of potential for, you could use it for so many things. But as I said, I stamped "Happy Birthday." Then I always like to bring the front of the card to the inside. So this is just a 1/2 inch strip left over from what we cut off the card front. And we're going to put this, I'm putting it right on the side there. This is a great use of the multi-purpose glue because I probably want to move it around, and it's, your multi-purpose glue, if you haven't used it for a while, guys, I've been out of my crafting space for 12 days. I think my craft supplies really miss me. So this got kind of gunked up at the end. I'm just rolling that off and tossing it. There we go. All right. This is the first crafting I've gotten back in to do. There we go. And now I'm just going to put this on here. So easy. And really, a scrap I probably would have tossed. And I have it longer than my card insert, which is the same size as your mat, 4 by 5 1/4, because I have arthritis in my hands, and sometimes they work really well, and sometimes they give me a little trouble. And this gives me handles that I can kind of move it around. Then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to trim, even with my card base, or card insert. the 1/2 inch strip adds so much without taking away. It isn't like I have less, you know, that much less room to write or do anything else. It still works. All right. Then we're going to fold this just like that. And our card base is Misty Moonlight. I gave you the wrong color before. And the blue is the boho blue. And I know those are the colors that are going to work because on the back of the Thoughtful Journey paper pack, it tells me which colors are in there. There we go. Give that a nice fold. So this is going on the inside. That's all we're going to do there. Just like that. But look what that does to the inside. It's not just a blank white. There we go. Doesn't that add something to that? Now, for the front. See how embossed this is? You can really tell the depth of the embossing from the back. My favorite tape runner on some of these heavily embossed areas, it's just going to ride on the top and may not adhere the level I want. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this multi-purpose glue again, and we're going to be pretty generous. I'm just going to make sure that I stay about 1/4 inch from the edge because I'm going to give this some push back, and when I push down, that glue is going to spread out, and I don't want it to spread out to the front of my card. There we go. That glue is going to kind of go in those crevices and catch. Yeah, I went a little crazy with the glue, didn't I? Oh well. There we go. And then this is here. And you're done with your card because you've already embossed the envelope flap. We don't have to go back and do that. Seriously, I use the word easy peasy a lot, but this was an easy peasy card. Look at that. This is a great card to send in a matching embossed envelope. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it more than you know. If you liked what you saw, please share it with your crafty friends. Until next time, take care and keep crafting. It's good for you.